Hey, what's good, people? It's CJ Williams for Culturalist Theory, and for this video, we're taking a look at Jeezy's discography, ranking his albums from worst to first. Note, this list will not include his mixtapes, independent projects, or EPs. It will only involve major label albums from the Snowman. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss a list. Number 10, Recession II. The follow-up to the commercially and critically successful Recession is Jeezy's most recent album and is also his worst effort to date. 12 years removed from the original, Recession II lacks the trunk-rattling anthems that made the first so popular. While attempting to recreate the magic using social commentary from the streets perspective, the album falls flat. This was also a time where Snowman had ventured out into being more of a media personality than an artist, hosting TV shows as Jay Jenkins and podcasting in between sessions. Not all is lost though, as he finally addresses a few of his beefs on the Smooth Therapy for My Soul, and Almighty Black Dollar featuring foe-turned-friend Rick Ross is nice. Outside of that, there isn't much to talk about. Not exactly the way you want to kick off your newly refreshed Def Jam deal. Number 9, TM104. We hate to kick off a worst to best ranking list with the two most recent projects at the bottom, but here we are. Dipping into the Thug Motivation well one too many times is TM104, The Legend of the Snowman. Jeezy likes his franchises. There are multiple Trap or Dies, Recessions, and Thug Motivations, but just like the movies, when you start getting into part 4s and 5s, the product can become stale. Things started off on the right foot with the strong intro, Entrepreneur, and follow up with Big Shit, but things dipped soon after. Records like Look Like and Better Tell 'Em sound more like underground Jeezy than the superstar we've gotten used to. Production is the main culprit, as the lack of bangers hurts the 18-track LP. That doesn't mean a few joints aren't worth revisiting. CeeLo killed the hook on Already Rich, and the last record, The Real MVP, is a soulful ode to Mama Jeezy that should be added to everyone's Dear Mama playlist. Number 8, Church in These Streets. Ever wondered if Jeezy dropped an album with no rap features, would it still be enjoyable? Okay, maybe you haven't thought that, but you got your answer with Church in These Streets. And for the most part, we say, yeah, it's solid. Nothing on here is reinventing the wheel, but Pastor Young is able to hold his own with his signature multi-layered ad-libs, and there's enough to keep you interested. There's the underrated single Gold Bottles, another banging intro, Grind State, and the reflective Sweet Life featuring Janelle Monáe. Although the project is a few songs too long and nothing on here is super memorable, in the end we got another solid Jeezy project that he was able to hold all on his own. How many people do that nowadays? Number 7, Pressure. Jeezy's 8th album, Pressure, is easily his most underrated. The lead single, Bottles Up, does the classic Tear the Club Up instrumental justice, while B-sides like Floor Seats, In a Major Way, and The Life make this slept-on project complete. But it's the glaring missteps that keep the album from cracking the top half of our list. For example, Kendrick Lamar's mailed-in appearance on American Dream, still not sure what that was about. The West Coast influence Like Them, featuring Kodak Black and YG, is a big skip, and most egregiously, the Valet interlude is 1 minute and 57 seconds when Jeezy knows damn well that should have been a full song. Fix those issues and low-key, you would have had a top 5 Jeezy album. Number 6, Trap or Die 3. You know what we said about sequels earlier? Well, when Jeezy announced that Trap or Die 3 was on the way in 2016, fans didn't know what to expect. They were excited that he was adding to the popular mixtape series, but skeptical that it's a trick to get you to listen only to be let down. Thankfully, a letdown it was not, and was actually a strong addition to the series. Reuniting with producer Shawty Redd after not producing on a Jeezy album since Recession in 2008, the chemistry was still there, as his joints are some of the hardest on the project. In the Air, You Know It, and G-Wagon all banged, but it was the single, All There, featuring the late Bankroll Fresh, that was the standout. I mean, come on, try to play that and not recite the opening line. Dope boy, 95 Air Max on. Talk to him. You can't. And that was just one of the many quality features like Lil Wayne on Bout That or Chris Brown on Pretty Diamonds. What we're left with is an album worthy of the Trap or Die title. Number 5, TM102 The Inspiration. How did young Jeezy follow up his ridiculously popular debut album? He stuck to the script, and for the most part, it worked. Joints like Jeezy and The Realest gave TM one-on-one vibes. There were good singles too, like I Love It and Go Getter. See, after the success of his debut, Jeezy's profile expanded. So this go round, he had A-listers featured like R. Kelly, Keisha Cole, and Timbaland. Results varied with those collabs. Some of them were a little too out of his lane and felt forced. Also, Jeezy got a little too comfortable in the booth. At times, he's not even rhyming, causing some of the bars to fall flat. I mean, come on, the sky is the limit and the limit is the sky?
Sky is the limit, that's what Jesus said, and the limit is the sky. Let's slice that pie.
man, come on, bro. Thankfully, the good outweighs the bad, but it still could have been better. Number 4, TM103, Hustler's Ambition. Look, we know putting this above 102 is going to confuse some people, but hear us out. Despite its fumbled rollout, when the off-delayed TM103 finally dropped, it was well worth the wait. Y'all remember the singles? Ballin' with Lil Wayne, bangin'. I Do with Hove and Andre 3000, come on now. Then the club staple, Lose My Mind with Plies, even though yes, we know it was technically on the mixtape Trap or Die 2, but we're still counting it. Then let's go to the B-sides. Super Freak with 2 Chainz, Way Too Gone with Future, and the standout OJ featuring Freddie and Jason, aka Fab and Jada. Throw in the bonus track 38 with Freddie Gibbs and you have a heavy album. With that being said, if you noticed, every song I highlighted had someone featured. With only a few solo songs on the project, those mostly get overlooked. That didn't stop the album from selling over 1 million records, adding another platinum plaque to the Snowman's resume. Before we get to the top 3 albums from Jeezy, let me know, do you prefer TM103 over 102, or is it just us? Sound off in the comments below. Number 3, Seen It All. Dropping the young from his name, Seen It All is the first album under the moniker Jeezy. The rebranding was fitting, as the album is even more reflective than usual, speaking on his come up and realizing how far he's come. On his 5th album, Snow sounds refreshed, painting vivid pictures of street life before rap. Bangers like Me Okay, F the World, and the standout Seen It All with Jay-Z hold the album up. But it's joints like How I Did It, Win Is a Win, and Beautiful that are some of Jeezy's strongest non-anthem records. The album starts off a little slow, but picks up around the 5th track, Holy Ghost. From there, it's up. Had this been cut down to a more concise 11, 12 records, and we might have had a classic on our hands. One request, just in case Jeezy is watching, can we get the Holy Ghost remix with Kendrick Lamar added to streaming sites? We need that. And number 2, Recession. Riding high off his successful first 2 albums, Jeezy showed no signs of slowing down with his 3rd project, The Recession. Dropping during the actual recession of 2008, Jeezy mixed in social commentary with the usual trap tales to satisfying results. The album started off strong with one of his best intros, Welcome Back, and the shawty read Blessed Who Dat, balanced with monster singles Put On featuring a classic auto-tuned Kanye West, and the prophetic My President, and the album was Jeezy's 2nd #1 record, selling 260,000 its first week. Recession has anthems, big singles, strong production, and minimal but well-placed features. Poll 100 Jeezy fans and you might get 50 that say this is a classic and should be number 1. Number 1, let's get it, Thug Motivation 101. Early 2005, a movement in Atlanta, Georgia was bubbling. Artist Young Jeezy, then backed by BMF, had just dropped his mixtape Trap or Die, which had the streets on lock. He couldn't drop his major label debut fast enough. After an early leak, the wait was finally over July of the same year, and from the intro, you knew exactly what time it was. The album is the epitome of no skips. From radio joints like And Then What, Soul Survivor, and Go Crazy, to hood staples like Bottom of the Map, Bang, or Gangster Music, the album was one of the most influential to come out of Atlanta, opening doors for trap rappers across the country. TM101 was commercially and critically successful, selling more than 2 million copies and considered a classic by many. Young Jeezy has one of the best debut albums of all time, and it's a no-brainer, it's number 1 on our list. That's it for today's ranking, guys. Let me know, did we get it right? Also, throw us some suggestions on who we should rank next. Don't forget, hit the like button and subscribe. And again, I'm CJ Williams for Culturalist Theory. See you next list.